Today we're getting a reality check on how new teachers are actually using AI.
To find out, we listened in on a live discussion where they got brutally honest.
We asked for the real story, their uses, their challenges, and their hopes. Let's get into it.
So first up, the Teacher's AI Toolkit. It's all about tackling that daily planning grind. They're using it for pretty much everything, from lesson plans to making quizzes and games.
A really key use, adapting work for different students. It's a huge time saver.
And you can see it right here. This helps them tailor tasks for specific kids.
But some are getting really creative and super specific with it. Check this out.
I mean, creating a custom story just for phonics? That's a seriously clever use of the tool.
Okay, so after all that promise comes the reality check. The growing pains are real. On one hand, you've got the promise of instant, custom resources. But the reality? Not so much. The biggest problems? Well, you get wrong information, generic ideas, and it just veers off track.
And here's the real danger. AI can be wrong with a lot of confidence.
And, it's not just about the tech itself. There are personal hurdles, too.
A lot of them just aren't sure how to use it right, or even if it feels like cheating. But even with all these challenges, they see a real glimpse of what's coming next.
And what's the #1 thing they're hopeful for? Well, it's all about saving time.
They're dreaming of AI handling all the tedious stuff, freeing them up to actually teach.
And, well, one teacher had a slightly more ambitious idea for saving some stress.
But the other big hope goes way beyond just tasks. It's about enhancing learning itself.
The real dream is a tool that can truly personalize learning for every single student.
Which brings us, finally, to the human element in all of this. It's a complicated relationship. This quote just says it all. This mix of guilt, distrust, and really wanting to learn.
Because at the end of the day, the AI is powerful, but the teacher is absolutely essential. So it leaves us with one big question. As AI takes over the grunt work, what does teaching become?